Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing an eyeshadow palette review. I have the What's Up Beauty Dragon Eye palette here. This was sent to me in PR. I'm very excited that they sent me this beautiful baby along with a bunch of their brushes. I am going to do a separate review of their brushes because I have quite a few and I think it warrants it. I know some of my viewers really love my brush reviews, so I'll go into depth on those in a separate video coming up in, I don't know, the next couple of weeks. Now this palette, it is a 12 pan eyeshadow palette and it features mattes, duochromes and multichrome shades. It retails for 75 Australian dollars or 45 US dollars. So this palette is made in Italy. It's cruelty-free, talc-free and made from 30% post-consumer recycled materials. The packaging is absolutely beautiful. So the outer sleeve here, this looks three-dimensional. It's not. It's just the way it's been like designed. It is beautiful. There's gold embossing on the packaging. The palette packaging is textured and it is absolutely gorgeous. You can see the holographic finish there, especially here on the scales where it's catching the light, and on the eye, even on the nose. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. I could stare at this for ages. Look at it. It's absolutely stunning. I also love how compact this palette is. Like, this is 12 eyeshadows and they're not wasting space. They do call this travel friendly, and I would agree with that. For a larger palette, I would consider this one, you know, quite compact. Inside you have a mirror which is nice and clear, really good quality. The eyeshadows aren't taking up excess space. They're named nicely. The layout is really nice. And also, I didn't realize this until I was doing my research on the palette. It's magnetic. You can pop these pans out. What? Also, I just realized Freya didn't come and say hello when I was doing my intro. That's because it's about 4,000 degrees in this house. We're having a heat wave and the house, it's heated up. It's like you can feel the heat radiating off the brick walls. It is so intense. So she's napping beside me. You can go in the bedroom. I left the aircon on for you. She doesn't want to. She knows that this is a Freya show. Let's jump into swatches of the palette before I show you guys the looks that I created with it and tell you my thoughts. I am going to be reading the descriptions of these eyeshadows on the website. So first up we have Fly. This is a light green to blue iridescent multichrome foil. Next we have Breath. This is a light peach creamy matte. And then we have Fire. This is a gold to green multichrome foil with a pink base. You can really see the pink when I'm looking down on it this way. Next we have Spikes. This is a mauve creamy matte. We've got Magic, which is a teal to purple multichrome foil with a purple base. And then we have Powerful. This is a dusty purple creamy matte. I will say some of these mattes don't seem to swatch particularly well, or they don't get that like really intense full swatch, but don't even worry too much about that. They apply beautifully. For the second row, we have Creature. This is a light brown creamy matte with pink undertone. That one is very smooth. This one here is Fierce. It's a gold, oh my god, it's insane. A gold foil with a green base. Then we have Scale. This is a green to blue to purple multichrome. Just going to go over those again because they are intense. Last three shades. This one's called Myth. They say it's a pink to gold to green multichrome foil. Then we have Smoke. I feel like this is not focusing on the swatches very well. There we go, that's a bit better. This one's a dark brown creamy matte with a purple undertone. You might be able to get a hint of that purple undertone if you just look to the edge of that swatch. And the last shade that we have is Monster. This is a purple to green duochrome foil. And again, we've got a little bit chunkiness there. I'm just going to add a little bit to the swatches here because I want you guys to be able to, I mean, the mattes don't really matter, but these metallics, it does matter. I just want to sort of wrap them around the arm a little bit so you can capture like the different colors in those swatches. They are gorgeous. Stop focusing on my face. So as you can probably tell, when it comes to the duochrome and multichrome formulas in this palette, they are super, super sparkly. When they say that they are foiled, they are not messing around. These are insane, like bright, light reflective pops of color on the eye. I'm going to put up some demos of me using the palette while I chat about my thoughts on the formula. So we'll start with the mattes because I feel like we can smash that out pretty quickly. These colors are right up my alley, like big tick, tick, tick. I've used all of the mattes in the palette and I like them all. The formula is pigmented without being obnoxious. Like I don't have to be scared when I'm picking up product on my brush because it's the right amount of pigmentation. They also blend really easily. So if I've gone in a little bit heavy-handed somewhere, it doesn't really matter. All I need to do is give it a little bit of time to blend it out and soften things up. They do build nicely as well if you want to get more intensity, which is great. Going back to the color selection of the mattes, you've got some lighter shades going into mid-tone and then a bit deeper. But I love that the deep shades aren't so deep and so pigmented that you don't have any control over them. Like Smoke and Powerful, you can build them up to make them really rich and deep, or you can apply them a little bit lighter and just have some depth without it looking like, you know, a really dark smoky eye. For me, that's really important because I have small and deep set eyes. So using dark shades on my eyes make those things look more pronounced. So it makes my eyes look smaller and look more beady. And I don't like that. It doesn't look flattering on me. But with the depth of these guys and the pigmentation that the eyeshadows have, I can control how dark I want it to be. My favorite mattes in this palette are definitely Creature and Spikes. Spikes is gorgeous. So that's Spikes there and Creature down here. And I love that Breath isn't just a straight up pink. I think we see pinks in palettes way too often and they're not even interesting pinks. They're kind of dated and boring. This is an absolutely beautiful peach. You can see the orange tones in there. You can see the yellowiness of the eyeshadow. When you blend it out, it becomes even more interesting and pretty. Also, the mattes combine well with each other. And I'm not just talking about like blending them on the eyelid. I'm talking about mixing them in the palette with a brush. So taking a brush, dipping it in another shade, mixing the two colors together before you actually put it on your eyes. They blend together before they're even on the eye beautifully, and you can make some more interesting tones out of them. Moving on to the multichromes, there are 7 in the palette, and these guys are gorgeous. I mean, look, you can see them. They are absolutely stunning. Now, the formula of these is quite flaky and they are soft. When you pop your finger in there, they do move around quite a bit. When you try and pick them up with a brush, because they are that more flaky formula, you may have some difficulty getting an ample amount on your brush, especially if you're going for like a full foiled effect. However, because the formula is like that, it allows you to essentially get 2 different types of finishes when you're using these eyeshadows. So if you apply them to a standard non-sticky eye primer with a dry brush, you're gonna get a more like glittery, soft, ethereal application. You're not going to get like the intensity of what I have with the swatches here. It's very pretty. We're in summer here in Australia, so it feels very light, very sparkly. It feels like the right kind of eyeshadow to wear for summer when you apply them dry. However, if you do want to get the real color intensity of these and also the color shifting, I would recommend applying it with your fingers if you have room. I don't, so I use a brush, but I dampen my brush first and then I dip into the palette and I apply it onto my eye. Another thing that does work is using like a really sticky eye primer, so potentially a glitter glue. The one that I've been using is the Pat McGrath Labs Intensifies Artistry Wand. This is a very light eye primer, but it grips onto stuff like this with a vengeance, and you will get that intense, vibrant color with the color shift and the metallic foiled effect of these eyeshadows that they can offer. It's hard to pick favorites from the Multichrome shades, but I do love Fire, Magic, and Myth. I think that probably is not much of a surprise to you guys. Fire, as you can see, it's got that really beautiful like gold to orangey reflect. They do say that there's some green in there, and there is, but it's a light green. It's not, you know, these sort of, I would say it's more similar to this green, not this dark green. It's in there, but it is subtle. This one, on the angle that I'm looking at it here, it's pink. It really is straight up pink, but then on the front, you've got this really beautiful warm, I guess you could say that that's a greeny gold shade. I can see hints of green in there, but it pulls more like warm gold for me. And then you've got really beautiful like orangey tones on the edges where it curves. Magic is also really pretty. I feel like you've got those sort of dusty, rosy pink shades in there, and the light reflect is quite cool. For me, I like that because, like I said, I've got small eyes and they're quite deep set. So when I wear a shade like this and the light reflect, like the color reflect is quite light and on the cooler side, that makes my eyes look bigger and makes them pop. So I really love that. And then of course we have Myth down here, which I would say is similar but not exactly the same as Stylishly Mary, which if you've watched me for a number of years, and especially over on Beauty News, then you would know that that's an old favorite of mine. But it has that really beautiful gold reflect with gold shift with the pink reflect. It's not the same as Stylishly Mary. It is different. The colors are different, like the gold and the pink colors are different, but it's got that similar vibe and it is just beautiful. I do want to talk about Fly as well. This is stunning, and what I love about it, you can see how it almost disappears on that angle, and then when you've got the light directly at it, it just pops. Beautiful, beautiful light, and it's kind of warm and kind of cool at the same time. There's purple, pinks, and blues in there that I can see, but the light reflect is there's hints of yellow as well, so it's a really interesting shade. I love how it goes from sometimes nothing to sometimes like a really bright, vibrant pop of light. I think it's just stunning. And look, I've been loving neutral and like almost no makeup eyeshadow for a long time now, but that doesn't mean that I don't still like things to be interesting. So an eyeshadow like this, I really appreciate. You know it's there, it's doing something interesting and beautiful, but it's not over the top. For the green and blue lovers, we have Fierce and Scales. I don't feel like oh, there you go. There you go. There's some of that blue that you get from Scales. I feel like that's coming off a bit purple on my camera because it looks a bit similar to this. but I can tell you now it's blue. And it's a very pretty shade of blue. This one does have a bit more of a blackened base, but that's normal for these types of multichromes. And Fierce is a very soft, I'd say it's a limey green. And again, I'm looking at my reflection in the mirror. I look at it this way. And then I look also at my little screen down here, and the colors on my screen are a little bit different. They might come out okay when I'm editing the footage, but this actually has like a vibrant sort of limey green color to it, and also I'd say it's almost emerald green. So there are a lot, oh, you can kind of catch it on this side, yeah. I don't know if it's really coming off, but there's emerald hints in there. There's that limey green shade, and I think it's got some gold in it that helps to, I just hit myself in the face, that helps to sort of lighten it up. Oh yeah, they do say it's a gold foil with a green base, but look, I would say it's a little bit more complex than that, because it's not just straight up gold. Like, the gold has green hints to it, so it's a very interesting and pretty shade. And then down here we have Monster. So they call this a purple to green duochrome, and there is green in there, but it's kind of a foresty green, and I feel like it's a little bit hard to see. I can see hints of it looking at it this way, but I feel like when it's on your eye, you're not really going to capture that. Unless your face is at a certain angle and someone's looking at you from, you know, above, then they might see it. But I don't feel like you really capture it all that well when it's sort of just on a curved edge. I do have a few final, not really thoughts, but maybe recommendations on using this palette. For one, I don't know if you can see, but these are obviously, like, the multichromes are very sparkly and glittery. I would highly, highly recommend that you apply your eyeshadow before doing your base, because you can get fallout with these. And if you've already done your base, then cleaning that up can be a bit of a nightmare. So highly recommend that you do your eyeshadow first and then clean up anything that might be an issue, and then go in with like foundation, other base products. As you might be able to tell, I used them as an eyeliner today. So I definitely wanted to use Fierce and Scales. A lot of you will know that greens and blues typically aren't super flattering on me. It's because of my undertone. My hair color will be playing a part in it at the moment now, because I've got like peachy and pink colors in there. And also, like, it brings out the dark circles under my eyes a lot. So I don't typically gravitate towards these sorts of colors, applying them all over my eyelid, but I did definitely want to try them out. So I used them as a fine liner today. So I used Fierce on the inner corner to give me some lightness, and then I used Scales on the outer corner, and I just sort of blended them in at the edge. I did a very like soft, subtle eyeliner, and I wanted to do that because doing a thick eyeliner with these would be too easy, basically. So I took like a micro skinny brush. This is a 3.0 pH from Hakuhodo, and I applied them wet. I just used my face mist to dampen my brush, and then I went in and picked up the product and just, you know, applied it. You can do that with these. You're going to have to be patient because it is a flaky formula, so your brush doesn't load up. You get a little bit and then you have to sort of layer it, but you can get a really beautiful glittery, light reflective, multi-chrome eyeliner effect using these eyeshadows. All you need is patience. This year I've been on a palette no buy. I've had very few come into my stash. I was given one for my birthday. I had one in the Beautylish Lucky Bag, and I've had two from PR. This is one of them, and I am so happy to add this to my stash. I will be keeping this. It's an absolutely beautiful palette. I can do soft, subtle, beautiful things with it. Like, look at these mattes and how they all blend together. Just gorgeous. And of course the multichromes. I mean, you can see them right here. Just look at that. I feel like when you have eyeshadows, like multichrome eyeshadows that are really sparkly and foiled and gorgeous, it makes normal colored eyeshadows boring. When you discover that you love sparkly eyeshadows, it's so hard to go back to boring like shimmers or satin shades. And they make every single look that you do really pretty and ethereal and just special. I love this palette. I'm so happy to have it. I think What's Up Beauty have done a really good job, like across the board, all of it. Packaging, formula, color selection. It's all good. And look, you guys will know, I'm trying to like whittle things down and keep my spending under control, and also not encourage you guys to go absolutely ham with the like over consumerism. But if you have been eyeing off this palette because you really like the color story and all you need to know is the formula good, then I have to say it is amazing. If you've been wanting to buy this palette but you just needed to know about the formula, then I would have to say buy it. It's worth it. It's beautiful. I'm going to leave that there because I'm sweltering in this room and I need to go and sit in aircon just for a few minutes. But if you guys have already picked up this palette and you've tried it and you have thoughts, leave them down below for others who potentially may be interested and want to know the thoughts of many and not just of me. I want to say a massive thank you to What's Up Beauty for sending me the Dragon's Eye palette and the brushes. Like I said, I will do a review on the brushes soon. I'm actually going to go and wash them now so I can dry them and then have like my final thoughts. Also, massive thank you to my channel members, and that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. No, I think that might be everything. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed it and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.